Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are. My name is Betty Kibaara. I'm a director at the Rockefeller Foundation. I manage different work streams of our work in Africa, and I also oversee our investments in insect-based feed. Growing up in the village brings a lot of memories to me. We looked forward to the rains, and basically it's because when the rains came, we got the flying termites. In about an hour, you had flying termites. And we could pick the termites and roast them. And that was very good protein in Australia when growing up. And I never thought for a moment that one day I would be speaking about insect-based feed and how you can commercialize the insect-based feed in Africa. The Rockefeller Foundation and ISIPE, as you heard from the previous presenter, we have had a partnership where we've been looking at taking the technologies from the lab to the land, in particular scaling insect-based feed using different business models. And I just start by looking at the global consumption of animal protein. We know that has been increasing in the last, 5 years by about 9%. And this growth is anticipated to continue because of several drivers, including population growth, urbanization, increase in income. And but on the other hand, there is growth in demand, but the high cost of feed in Kenya, for example, presents a big challenge. For example, the high cost of feed drives the costs by about 70 production cost by about 70%. And then we know, for example, Kenya has been importing a lot of its protein feed inputs from the Eastern African countries. But we know that BSF, as we've already heard, it presents a very good opportunity for us to tap into that emerging innovation. And I'm really here to look at, to be able to answer. I hope by the end of my presentation, I'll have been able to answer the question. Is Africa ready for investment in insect-based feed? And I would say yes. So first, the fact that ISIPE, the International Center for Insect Physiology and Ecology, has already done a lot of work in advancing this sector. And they have done a lot of publication. They have trained many farmers, and they have been a point of reference. The fact that the institute sits within Africa, I think, is a plus. We have also partnered with the ISIPE as the Rockefeller Foundation to test different models for scaling up. And we know insect farming is really a science, and I don't think you can do without the science. The organic waste in Africa is just quite a lot of it. For example, Kenya, we generate about 8 million metric tons of organic waste every year. But I do believe we can convert this waste into gold rather than just throwing the organic waste in the landfill. We can convert it into the BSF larvae. We can do the oil. We can do the chitin. We can also do the frass, which is in very, very high demand right now to improve the soil fertility. And I just want to acknowledge that we do have some companies, for example, Takataka Solution, that sorts out the waste and is able to link that waste to some of the BSF entrepreneurs. The Smart Markets of the Future is also a project of the Rockefeller Foundation, where we are trying to rethink how do you design markets that also builds in, efficient management of waste in the marketplaces, and that is still work in progress. But we do have some work that we are working, some pilots that we're doing. The third thing I would want to say is we have a cohort of emerging vibrant entrepreneurs. In Kenya, for example, we have around, if it's not more than that, I do believe 60 SMEs. and about 2,000 farmers have already been trained. We've also seen emerging entrepreneurs in Rwanda, Uganda, Tanzania, and also in West Africa. And, we know SMEs are the ones who are driving food systems transformation. And in fact, a report that was done by the Alliance for a Green Revolution in Africa, it did refer the SMEs as a hidden middle. We need to continue focusing on supporting SMEs in the continent, and especially, given the role that they play. They drive more than 90% of the volume in Africa. We've also seen the SMEs are also beginning to come together. For example, the formation of the Insect-Based Feed Association, which is, it's ongoing work in Kenya, and I think it presents a very good opportunity for the SMEs to start coming together, to start having conversation around what kind of environmental support they need for them to be able to run their business. It can also be a useful venue in terms of standardizing the products that they are generating. And then in terms of pricing, I do think we have a competitive advantage in terms of pricing. I'm sure, with about right now it's estimated about $1 or thereabout, the price for BSF in Kenya. And if you compare that pricing with the pricing of BSF products in other continents, it will just be shocking. But we also know, for example, we estimate that using IBF, the insect-based feed, is going to reduce protein costs by about 25%. With the ICIPE partnership, we have done the willingness to pay and willingness to use, and the feed millers, actually about 75% of them are willing to use the insect-based protein, and about 80% of the farmers are also willing to use the insect-based protein. So there is high level of acceptability, and especially for insect-based feed. And then in terms of the favorable policy environment, in the last 3 years, we've seen a lot of deliberate moves by the government to work on policies. And for example, the Kenya Bureau of Standards has provided guidelines and protocols for production and processing of IBF. And I'm aware right now about 20 SMEs are already going through certification process. With time, we have also seen emerging financial products, accelerator programs, and also including, for example, Kenya Commercial Bank financing facility that is with one of the county, which is totally focused on IVF. Under the Rockefeller Foundation, ICIPE partnership in Dalberg, we have engaged Dalberg Consulting, who have generated for us an excellent report catalyzing the insect for feed industry in Kenya. This report is still not public, but it's going to be launched soon. But the report is very rich. It contains a lot of information, including financial and business models for insect-based feed in Kenya. It looks at 4 models: the vertically integrated, the outgrower model, community model, and smallholder farmer model. And all of them, we have done all the financial metrics that you would think of, including payback period, the return on investment, and other financial indicators. So we'll let you know when that report is out. And so as I look at the opportunities which we have right now, for example, is when I speak to so many SMEs who are in insect-based feed, they're really willing to partner with investors. They are looking for blended financing. They have business places in place. They have quite some experience They have learned. Some have failed and learned the hard way, and I do think a good number of them they can make a good case for investment. And as we think about continuing to invest, we cannot ignore technical assistance. As I started by saying that IBF is a science, and if it is a science, then we need to continue also supporting, providing technical assistance, not just for production, but even in terms of marketing, packaging, and all that goes on with the technical assistance. We have also seen some county governments that are really interested, especially in Kenya. Kirinyaga County has reached out to us. They generate about 600 metric tons a week from 10 markets, and they are actually looking for opportunities for investors to come in and invest in the county. And they are assuring us that whoever is going to make the investment is going to get the substrates, is going to be assured. And I do think another thing that is not, talked about a lot is around the post-harvest losses for the BSF. Many of these SMEs may not have access to a dryer, and we do think, for example, one of the models we are testing, we see an opportunity to invest in a community dryer, and we also see opportunities of someone thinking about the business of drying, and we are very excited about the opportunities that we see for BSF right now. Is a lot of untapped opportunities, but I'm also confident that BSF is going to be the next frontier in livestock development. Thank you so much for taking time to listen to me, and I'm happy to take any questions that you may have. Thank you.